So I guess we can officially say that the Sustainabar is open.
Fantastic.
And hopefully we'll have a few people joining us soon enough. That's had a fantastic day at the World of Wisdom so far. And what better way than to wrap the night up in a pretty relaxed and chill, but also fun way, together with me, Jakob Sundin, and my co-pilot,
Joel.
Right. So Joel and Jakob, we will host this little bar session together with you guys tonight. And as you guys join us, please feel free to ask us any type of questions that you might have in the chat. We will be focusing on 3 different drinks tonight. And our goal and ambition, what we really want to share with you guys is, all right, I'm just going to admit Niels into the room, is, yeah, what we really want to share, and our goal and ambition tonight is to make all of you guys watching to become better home bartenders, hopefully, and to become better hosts,
confident home bartenders.
Exactly. So we've actually prepared a few tips and tricks that hopefully could be useful when making drinks at home.
Yeah, because it's not that easy. We have noticed during our many years behind the bars, and also trying to educate our consumers of making drinks at home, basically. Answering all the typical questions such as ice and what ingredients to use, etc. So we'll try to cover as much as we can during this time, and yeah, just once again, very welcome to everyone. And tips, as Jacob mentioned, on how to make a few conscious decisions when making drinks, which is always a good thing. And over the ingredients obviously used in the drinks, and the tips and tricks of the trade, and also, as we mentioned, make the drinks at home and not look good doing it also. So without further ado, I guess we'll get into the first drink, which is the drink of drinks.
The most
debated.
Yeah,
very debated.
The most iconic, the most classic drink that there is.
Which is
the dry martini, and in this case, we're gonna make the vodka martini, or the absolute martini. And we've actually prepared 2 different versions that we want to show you guys. So we're gonna stir one and make it from scratch, but we've also simplified everything and made it more of a home version, so that it's going to be super easy to prep it in advance, and whenever you have friends, guests coming over, you can just pour it straight into the glasses, and it's going to be super, super delicious. It's going to be very cold and crisp, and just as beautiful as a vodka martini can be.
We're used to making drinks behind a proper bar, which is almost always the case that you don't have one of those at home. So all that good stuff that you have close by in a real bar, we need to kind of rethink that approach to the drinks, tweak it a little bit, and make it a lot easier, because we know as a host, you don't want to be looking like a fool in the kitchen while the other guests are having a good party in the living room. So you want to join the party, and hopefully this will simplify things quite a bit. So, yeah, the vodka martini, Jacob.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
So the vodka martini is actually pretty simple drink, but it's not that many ingredients that you can hide behind. So therefore, you need to make sure that the balance is right, that the temp is right, etc. And the beauty of the drink is you can easily tweak it and adapt it to your own preferences and your own style that you like it. So would you like it?
Bro.
Ska du till baren eller?
Ja, jag har bara med mig.
Okej, men där, vi ses där borta.
Ja.
So
it's a fun drink to play around with when you get the basics down and kind of get the understanding of the drinks and how it works. Then you can elaborate a lot with this drink.
if you want to make it drier,
Yeah.
if you want to make it more wet, if you want to add a little bit of aromatic bitters to it, if you want to garnish it with a lemon peel, for instance, or with an olive, perhaps. So there's many different ways to make the drink sort of your own. All right. Let's see. So we have the pre-batched, prepped version, which is Absolut vodka with some dry vermouth and water, which we've kept in the freezer for a couple of hours. So that's super easy because all you need to do is pop the lid, and pour it straight into a cocktail glass. If you have a pre-chilled straight from the fridge or freezer, you can use that, of course. Or you can also, of course, chill it with a couple of ice cubes. So that's one version. And I guess, Joel, if you prepare perhaps a little lemon zest, I'm gonna prepare the vodka martini from scratch, and I like mine not too dry, so about 20 mils of dry vermouth can go inside, and roughly 50 mils of the Absolut vodka, and that's pretty much it when it comes to ingredients. But as I said, you can also add a little
I like to share. You probably can't see me. And I'm Nils, but I'm using Fabiana's phone. Thank you for allowing me to be part of this. I've been listening throughout the whole experience, and I've been crying quite a bit. And I feel grateful and hopeful knowing that the Divine Feminine will hold space for Mother Earth for the ages to come.
It's just stirring it with a spoon, a bar spoon in this case, which is a little bit longer, so we can have it pop up out of the mixing glass. Makes it easier to stir. You could use a larger style spoon that you have at hand, of course, but these are kind of narrow, thin, easy to stir in. Makes it a lot easier. They look good. So this is always good if you want to get some sort of bar equipment. This is not a bad thing to have at hand, I think. But I think, and Jakob mentioned that also, I mean, this little thing right here, we could even pull the glass out of the freezer. If you pull that out just before you add the drink, just before you serve it to your guests, that's a big step up, since there aren't that many ingredients to hide behind, like you said. So just adding that cold temperatured glass gives a lot of extra oomph to the drink.
Very true.
So
let's empty this glass now when we've chilled it, and I'm gonna squeeze just a little bit of the beautiful essential oils from the lemon peel, and I'm gonna let it sit in there.
how about we give this just a taste before? So how much water are we talking here, Jakob?
I would say roughly 20 to 30% water in the drink. So what we've actually done in the pre-batched drink here is, I'm just gonna admit someone into the meeting. Perhaps I didn't get that set. All right. Welcome to the bar.
Welcome to the bar.
So, as I said, vodka, dry vermouth, and some water. Since when Joel stirred the drink, the The ice, of course, made the drink cold, but it also diluted the drink just somewhat. And this is, it's a matter of personal taste, of course, on how boozy you want your drink. And some want it, you know, super stiff, so not much dilution at all. But some, including myself, I don't mind a little bit of water in there. So when we did this little pre-batch, we poured the vodka pretty much up to here, and then we added the dry vermouth and then the water. So I would say somewhere around maybe 5 parts vodka, 1 part dry vermouth, and 2 or 3 parts of water.
Yeah.
And then stick it in the freezer, and then it's going to do the job itself.
And to be honest, it's going to be quite strong, even though you add that much water. And most people are not Ernest Hemingway. They don't drink that much every day, probably. And this drink will, if it's done right, be not too boozy, but still boozy in a good balance, of course. So
it looks very beautiful.
Yeah, and it's a lovely looking drink.
Very elegant.
Welcome again. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers. You can really get the beautiful lemony, zesty aroma on the nose.
So what are the options for garnish here? The most common one might be the olive, of course. Some like the lemon twist, some like both.
I'm gonna go wild here, and I'm gonna do both. So I'm gonna add a little olive into my vodka martini just because I can, I guess. No, but it gives that beautiful little salty note to the drink, and also it gives me a cocktail snack later on. So
it's a good point.
Yeah,
it's a very good point. It's a great drink, one of my favorites, and it's always nice to get one blistering cold from your favorite bartender or favorite host at home, of course. So give that pre-batch version a try. It's a very, very nice, and as you could tell, super fast and easy.
Very easy. I like that. I'm a little bit lazy behind the bar, so I like it easy. So I'm just gonna read out loud here. So we just finished the ceremony a little late. No problem at all from our side. So people should be popping in shortly. And we also have a beautiful view now over what looks like a very cozy little tent in what I can guess is the beautiful island of Gotland.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I would love to be there, but I mean, we're in a very warm, humid Stockholm in our office, so we can't complain either. We're having a pretty good time, and with a vodka martini in hand, it's a good start for a good Friday night.
It's a good way to cool down. But this style of drink, Jacob, if you're a host at home, when should you serve this?
I mean, our idea of starting with this drink is because we thought it's a great party starter to get your friends, family, your guests in the mood. So if you're pouring vodka martinis as a welcome drink, I guess it's a good way to get a dinner party or a cocktail party going. And I guess it could be somewhat dangerous to continue drinking vodka martinis all night long. So therefore, I guess we're gonna switch up to another drink which is a little bit longer, which is, hi there, which is easy to sip and enjoy for a little bit longer period of time, more sessionable drink, I guess. And we've actually decided to go for also a classic vodka drink called the Moscow Mule, but today we're gonna make a little bit of a twist on the Moscow Mule. So originally, of course, Moscow Mules are usually served in stainless steel cups or copper mugs of some sort, but we wanted to show you the color of the drink because it's going to look somewhat different compared to a classic mule. So therefore, we decided to serve the drink in tall highball glasses or Collins glasses, if you want to call it that. And we had a little bit of the leftover wine, some red wine, which I didn't finish the entire bottle last night. So instead of just letting that wine go to waste, we decided to spice things up somewhat and infuse the red wine with cardamom, cloves, cinnamon,
some citrus zest,
some citrus, orange zest, some lime zest, and a little bit of allspice. So it's similar to, you know, a mulled wine, pretty much, or glögg, as we say in Sweden. But we infused it overnight. And usually, I mean, when mixing a Moscow Mule, you would use vodka, some fresh lime, and lengthen it with ginger beer. But you could also add a little bit of aromatic bitters on top. But today, I guess we don't really need that because we have a lot of herbaceous aromatics from the herbs and spices that we infuse the red wine with. And what we also thought is a good thing, you can sort of alter the ratio on how strong you want the drink to be. If you want it more boozy and less, you know, herbaceous and less spicy, you can just go a little bit more vodka, less of the mulled wine. Or if you want to take down the ABV, the alcohol by volume, you can go a little easy on the vodka and perhaps add a little bit more wine to make it more of a ginger beer cooler. Or if you're driving or just not in the mood for drinking, why not just go for ginger beer with some fresh lime, and that's it.
Yeah. This style of drink that we're doing now, which we call a built drink, which means that we pour all the ingredients straight into the glass and serve it. You don't need to do anything with the steering glass and with the ice outside the ice in the glass. No shakers, no strainers, nothing to make you look like crap. Basically, so it's fairly easy, and I would say this is the go-to drink to learn if you don't want to have the entire drink pre-batched in a glass like the martini. But a lighter style drink, which always sometimes requires a little bit more refreshing ingredients such as citrus and fresh soda, etc., or ginger beer mixers. So build drinks. That's the easiest way to make a drink, and you can make them as advanced as you would like with the preparation of the modifier, or the flavoring ingredient or syrup. So a great way to make you look even better as a home bartender is learn how to prep and prepare your ingredients, so you don't have to do that a la minute. Okay, so how are we approaching this drink? Do they need to be cold also?
I mean,
same way that we did with the martini
since
glass?
we're gonna actually serve this drink with ice cubes in the glass, the ice will keep the drink cold and keep the glass cold as well. So I think we're gonna do quite all right.
Okay.
So if you prep the garnish, we're gonna squeeze it with lime wedges. Yeah. I'm just trying to see here what's going on in the chat. We have people in Reykjavik, Iceland. No bar cabinet available, unfortunately. Oh. Too bad. But I mean, and some people need to go home and take care of their families, which is perfectly fine. I mean, that's very important.
We hold no grudge. Garnish, you say?
Yeah, a little lime wedge, perhaps. I can start icing the glasses up, perhaps. I
hope you can hear okay while Jakob is icing the glasses. So just to compare this drink now from a few minutes ago when we poured it ice cold from the pre-batch, is actually gone up in temperature quite a bit, and it's just not as crispy as it was when we first served it. So this drink is meant to be quite small and drink quite fast, rather than have it sit on a table and come back to it after you're chatting with some friends. So
it sort of develops into a little bit more, it has a bigger, more bold approach all of a sudden.
Shorter lifespan.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I'm gonna add about tonight, since we were drinking the vodka martinis, we're doing this and another drink. About 30 mils seems about right. Not too heavy on the vodka tonight. Since we're also going to add a little bit of wine, so 30 mils, 1 ounce ish.
What about the style of vodka? I mean, the style of vodka in the martini, that would, I guess, show more in the martini.
Yeah, since there's not that many other ingredients for the flavor of the vodka to hide behind. Yeah. So for sure, I prefer my vodka martini with a vodka such as Absolut, since it has a lot of character. It's round, full-bodied, and goes perfectly well in a vodka martini for sure.
And in this case, I mean, the vodka being as clean and neutral as it is would actually just enhance the other ingredients.
It's very supportive.
Very supportive.
All right, so you're just pouring. We have the vodka, we have the mulled wine, we have the ginger beer. Perhaps we want to open up the other bottle as well. Another one. There we go. We have it. Yeah, it gets a little.
Can I get mine with a straw?
I'm afraid we don't stock this bar with any straws tonight. But you can get it with a beautiful lime wedge squeeze inside.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good enough, right?
So you covered that mulled wine, yeah? So that's a cold infusion overnight. How much spices are we using? Is it?
I mean,
are we baking here, or is it chefing?
I would say we're more chefing, right? So you can try a little bit, but I guess, you know, a handful of this, a handful of that, you know, a little bit of cinnamon, cardamom, whatever you feel, whatever you have at home, is fine. But I mean, so perhaps not like a huge amount in a small, tiny bit of wine, but try as you go. It's just like cooking.
Yeah. All right.
Let's see how this is.
It's a nice, refreshing looking drink. Bubbles, always great.
Yeah,
right.
Cheers.
Salute.
Cheers, guys.
It's delicious. So even though this has a ton of character, it's super refreshing.
Yeah.
Crisp and cold also, as it should be, but very delicious. And that makes a huge difference. What if I can't get my ginger beer? If I can't get ginger beer,
if you can't get ginger beer, I would say
substitute this with
I would say why not try and infuse a little bit of fresh ginger into the mulled wine, and then you can use club soda, or you can even use ginger ale if you have that. Now I just see that Nils is writing, the entire Gotland crew have set up a Sustainabar on location tonight, but we're not very talented. I don't believe that. I think I think you guys are super talented, and I hope you're making some delicious drinks. This was good, actually. To be completely honest, when the vodka martini, since we're talking too much, has gone up a little bit in temperature, this is my type of drink when it's this warm and humid outside and inside technically as well.
I don't mind. So the equipment, I mean, for this, you don't really need any bar equipment to make this.
No, not at all. I mean, if you have ice cubes. And to be completely honest, that's a very good thing to keep in mind when mixing drinks at home. You need plenty of ice. You need more than you think. My girlfriend, I drive her nuts because I have three shelves in my freezer, and I keep the bottom one packed with ice cubes. And she gets very mad at me because she want to keep other stuff in there. But I tell her that if we're gonna make some delicious drinks, we have to prioritize, and you know, the ice matters in the drink. So
very much so. You know what I did this summer that drove my wife's parents nuts also? I took the biggest plastic container I could find, I filled it up with water, and I just shoved it into the freezer, let it sit there for, I think, like 48 hours. When that was done, I just flipped it out on the counter and chopped it up with a serrated bread knife.
Ooh, like in
big chunks, small chunks.
All right.
A little bit of everything came out of that. But I mean, you would be surprised how easy it is to cut ice with a serrated knife. Just let it sit there for a few minutes, come up to temperature a little bit. So if it's super cold straight out the freezer, it will probably shatter and you will get crushed ice rather than the big ice cubes that we like.
Yeah.
So that's a good tip to get plenty of ice easy at home before your party.
And
those small trays.
It's also very, very stylish, and you can impress people if you make in a drink served in these lowball glasses on the rocks, etc. You can impress people with having those big, beautiful, almost, you know, blocks of ice sitting there. And if you're making old fashions, etc. Oh, look what we have
something
here.
Like that. I don't know if you can see this, but a bit bigger ice cubes than your regular ice tray would make.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Very, very appreciated.
If we
let it sit there for a while.
If we let it sit in a glass.
See how easy that was?
Magic. Yeah. So now this cube looks very, very white, but we can let it sit here for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to see when it sort of starts rising in temp. It's going to become clear and very beautiful. So while we're waiting for the ice to do its own little magic, I guess we can start moving on into the third drink, which we also said it's a pretty amazing drink. If you're throwing a cocktail party at home, why not treat your beautiful friends to a little to-go drink, which they can bring back home and save for the day after, and then they can have it for brunch, breakfast, lunch, the day after the party as a pick-me-up, and that could easily be, you know, served. Since we're talking about the vodka Martini, the vodka.
Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary, the pickle. We're gonna do the pickle brine Bloody Mary, but I'm talking about the classic Bloody Mary, which is the best drink for any brunch, I guess, or the day after. But what's the beauty of the drink? It's as good non-alcoholic as it is with vodka or gin, for instance. Then it's called a red snapper. But I think it's a beautiful idea. When you told me that, why not make, you know, a pre-batched tomato juice to go with all the spices, etc., and then the people can take it with them back home, and then in the morning, the day after, if they're a little bit tired, they can just pour themselves a glass and feel somewhat better, and remind themselves of the beautiful night that they just had.
Exactly.
So we've tried to make all the drinks fairly simple and basic tonight, and therefore we have decided to do a Bloody Mary with Absolut vodka, and we found this spiced tomato mix, which we're just kind of mix it with the vodka over ice. And then we decided to, I mean, if you have pickles at home, if you have olives, that could do the trick, or even caper berries. The pickle brine is usually just thrown out, but that can make a beautiful little salty, acidic flavor profile to the drink, which means you don't have to use lemon if you don't have any lemons or limes at home. And yeah, I mean, just why not? The pickleback with the Irish whiskey and pickle brine is pretty cool. So why not?
So
try
salt
this?
in drinks in general is probably a little bit underestimated
I would say
as
so.
an ingredient, and if you're not working behind the bar, you might not be confident enough to start adding salt to your drinks. But I mean, most of the people today can swing their way around the kitchen.
Yeah, absolutely.
fairly good. And I mean, you know what food without salt tastes like?
Exactly.
It's not that good. I mean, salt can be used to enhance other flavors, to just make the drink more alive and popping. And in this case, it adds also, except the salt, a little bit of acidity from the pickle brine.
Mm.
You can do picklebacks.
Yeah.
Of course.
We also, before we start mixing the drinks, we just got a question about how can you ask your local bartenders and make sure that they are working in a conscious and sustainable way behind their bar. And I mean, the simplest thing I would say is to make sure that they recycle everything. That's the very basic stuff, of course, but not all bars do that, especially not globally. Here in Stockholm and in Sweden in general, we sort of almost have the recycling in our DNA. And we try to separate, you know, paper from glassware to metal tins and plastic, etc. Even behind the bars and in restaurants in general. But in the US, for instance, that's not exactly the case, unfortunately. But that's a very good start, of course. But then just to see if they're trying to work around, you know, smart ways of how to extend the life of each ingredient and sort of, you know, perhaps using make sure to use the skin of citrus fruits before you can do something with that before you cut the citrus fruit in half and juice it, for instance, because then you can make sure to save the skin, etc.
Getting the most out of your citrus fruit is key. It's very, very helpful. And it's a big step for most bars to, instead of just squeezing it, throwing it out, which we've been doing for too many years. We have to admit, I mean, this can be used in so many ways. You can make lime stock and cordials and stuff with it, which we don't unfortunately have time to go into in detail today. But I mean, as with the martini, the first thing, the peel, the zest, can be added to any built drink also, of course. After that, after you remove all the nice yellow, or in that case, green skin, chop it up, squeeze it, use the juice, and with the rest, you can boil that with water and then sugar and get the very last of the citrus juice also.
Very true.
Cordial-ish type of liquid that is both sweet and sour, and you can use that for your drink. So just trying to get the most out of these things is very, very good.
Very true. Okay, so I just started by adding the vodka into each glass for our Bloody Marys, and I didn't want to make them too strong because I personally believe that Bloody Mary, it should wake you up, it shouldn't knock you back straight to bed if you had a big night the night before. So around 30 to 40 mils of vodka perhaps, and 20 to 30 mils of the pickle brine. And then I'm gonna just add a little splash of the tomato juice and then fill it up with good ice. I'm not sure if the good ice is ready yet. Beautiful ice. Maybe we can just make a beautiful vodka on the rocks and then we can say cheers and we end with that.
Don't have to have this drink the day after, of course. I mean, it's a quite nice drink and to have during the evening also, depending on what kind of style you want to make it. Some like it's super like thick and spicy, but you can make this a lot fruitier and refreshing than one might think, depending on what ingredients that you choose.
Yeah, so this is a fairly standardized basic version of the Bloody Mary, so we're not going too crazy here, even though someone might say that adding pickle brine could be considered a bit out there. But if you want to make it more spicy and hot, add some more hot sauce, Worcester sauce. You can add a little bit of freshly grounded pepper on top, which I'm gonna do.
That would actually be quite enough as a garnish for this drink.
Could be, yeah.
You can see salads on top of this thing, tomatoes, cucumbers,
shrimps,
celery, shrimps,
bacon.
It could be a little bit of everything.
Chicken wings.
Yeah, exactly. This is perfectly enough, in my opinion.
It's always nice with a little snack. A salty snack the day after is always good. So,
have you had any fun versions of the Bloody Mary traveling around the globe?
Actually, this was quite a long time ago, but it's funny that you ask because that brings me back to mind when I visited not the Dorchester, the Connaught bar at the Connaught Hotel in London. This is like 8 years ago, most likely. And this drink, it's not only one of the best Bloody Marys I've ever had, but it's also one of the best drinks, period. And they stirred the drink in a beautiful way, and they served it in a martini glass. And on top of the drink, they sort of had a beautiful celery foam, which you drank the Bloody Mary through that celery foam, which was just amazing. And that's a drink that I'm gonna keep in my mind for probably, hopefully, the rest of my life.
Are we doing that today? No, not today.
We're
sticking with the basic version, okay? But if you get the chance, visit the Connaught Hotel in London and ask for their signature Bloody Mary, and it's a real treat.
Mm-hmm.
Very unique, but it's still a Bloody Mary.
Oh yeah.
All right, so let's give this a shot.
Yeah. Cheers. Cheers, guys.
It's weird how the pickle brine just melts in with the other ingredients. Yeah. It's not like it's totally different from your regular Bloody Mary. This is still very much a Bloody Mary, super delicious. Adds a little bit of that salty flavor. It's excellent, Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
Job well done.
No, thank you. We got another very interesting question here, and they're asking, what's the most unsustainable aspect of a bar, and what's the important thing to think about to stay green? To be completely honest with you guys, it's hard to be more sustainable than actually making drinks such as the Vodka Martini. If you want to drink drinks, I guess one of the best ways is to stay away from exotic stuff, etc. But I mean, if you try, I could just go to myself. I don't want to drink vodka martinis for the rest of my life. So try and drink cocktails with ingredients that are locally sourced, that are in season, and try to support, local producers. And I mean, but sometimes you want to have that beautiful mezcal, tequila drinks as well. I get that. But mix it up a little bit, support, I guess, locality. And whenever you're traveling and when things get back to normal, when we're going to travel more, try to, support their local stuff wherever you're going. But yeah, Someone says here, go local, question mark. Yeah, absolutely. I guess go local is a very, very good way of doing it.
Oh. Yeah, but I mean, go local. I mean, this summer during my holidays, I was buying all my berries, Swedish strawberries, some of the best I've ever had from like a local farmer's market. Super cheap and the most amazing strawberries that I've had. And in my garden, I happen to grow rhubarb, which also are in season or just kind of at the end of the season, but make cordials or syrups with the rhubarb and the strawberries. That's money. That's fantastic. That's such a great way to make drinks. So yeah, that can't stress that enough. Use ingredients that are happening right now where you are, and sometimes we want that tropical stuff also. Yeah, I understand. That's okay.
Now this beautiful ice cube, all of a sudden, a lot has happened with that.
Looking good.
Yeah,
crystal clear.
Turned into a magic crystal clear ice cubes.
This stuff, I mean, you don't have to make the entire block of ice at home if you don't want to. You can actually build small forms for this with like the frigolit, styrofoam packages. Pop that into the freezer. It will come out pretty clear. Maybe cut off a little bit of some cloudy parts, but you can get very good ice at home if you do a little bit of research.
Oh yeah, that's true. And there's also very good ones that you can buy nowadays, made from rubber, silicone, etc., which gives you those beautiful cubes.
Not as clear though.
It's hard to get them as clear as this one. Then you need a big proper machine, but let's not go into that tonight.
How are we on time here?
I think we're doing pretty okay on time. I think we have 1 or 2 minutes left, pretty much.
Should we do like a short little recap of what we've been doing here? So talk a little bit about the conscious choices that we made during this session. I mean, we started off with the martini. I mean, that's as we mentioned, just conscious, just because it's not containing that much fresh tropical ingredients. So we're kind of eliminating that part, saving a little bit of our planet just by drinking this style of drinks. Great. We're also using the zest and the skin of the lemon juice, the lemon. You could also use the lime if you would prefer that.
Or grapefruit, or orange, for instance. Any kind of citrus fruit will pretty much do.
Yeah, and from there we went to the built drink, the Mulled Mule, where we took our leftover red wine, added a bunch of spices, just let it sit overnight. A note to that, you can make that non-alcoholic just by boiling it up, just putting it to simmer.
That's very true.
You could add that non-alcoholic mulled wine to your ginger beer. That's a delicious non-alcoholic drink. That's great. And the easy peasy Bloody Mary with the pickle brine in it. Don't throw that. Use it.
No, don't throw any ingredients. Think twice before you throw anything in the bin. It's actually a good thing to put a little sign on the bin. Do you really have to throw it out? And just give it a second thought. And then you can sort of, lengthen the life of your ingredients. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for joining. We hope to see you at Gotland, in Gotland next summer. So have a good night. See you soon. Peace out. Enjoy the weekend. Ciao, ciao. Cheers.
Drink. It is.
Cool.
Cheers.
Cheers.